Anticipated Nachulugi win.
Hi besties, it's your girl Anna Siwe and welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you're a new subscriber, hi. So if you're a returning subscriber, kindly stay tuned because your girl's back by popular demand. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be cooking and we're going to be making dumplings and beef stew. So I hope you enjoy it, so stay tuned. Besties, don't come for me, but this is my version of what I call beef stew and dumpling. If it's not like this, I'm definitely not eating it. So the ingredients that I've used, they were quite simple. It's things that you can be able to find, even though I didn't use all of them, but you're gonna see the ingredients that I used in my video, as you're gonna see. So with that said, I just put a drop of cooking oil, let me just put it like that, just to be able to just fry up the meat that I'm gonna be using, and to just fry it up and give it some color, give it some essence, give it that thing, in order to be able to prepare it finely. So while I'm doing that, while it's still frying, what I did was to chop some onions and also chop some potatoes that I'm gonna add into my beef stew, because like my stew is now frying and I was just chopping them in order to prepare them to put them in my dish. Now, as you can see, now my meat is still frying, and with that I had to put on some spices. So the spices I used are the ones here, and one thing about me, I don't like putting salt, so I use my spices as my substitute for the salt. So I don't put any salt in my food. That's why I use most of the spices that you see on this video. So this is where, and the trick is to just stir and make sure you just fry, and you fry it off, and then you put your potatoes inside, and then you keep on just stirring and keep on stirring, and consistency is just does the trick. So with that, you just have to put on some water. So while that is boiling, I prepared my mix for the dumplings, and of course I used a flour. I think it was 2.5 cups of flour, and try to not put a lot of salt. Make sure that sugar, I have a sweet tooth, so that one. And now with a little bit of twist, I put on some eggs and also some milk to make sure that my dumpling is super soft, and it really helps because it came out super nice. So now I made a mess. Remember to clean up after yourself, and everything that you do, cleanliness is next to godliness. That's what I always say. Now what I did, the trick is to just separate your wet mixture and your dry mixture. That is the trick in doing your dumplings. Make sure you mix them well, but then I prefer using my hands because it gets the job done. Actually, that's what I can say. It gets the job done. Make sure you just mix up until you feel a certain consistency, up until you feel that. Now, as I say, cleanliness. Make sure. So now what I use, as I say, you can see there's no salt. I use spices and cubes in order to just spice things up, and also to add that taste into the food that I'm preparing. So now here we're almost done with this. I was just doing up the final touches, and this is my go-to sauce. Every time. And you can also add that with some tomato paste if you have it at home. You can also do that. Now what we did was to let our flour just to sit like for a couple of minutes, then you go back to it and knead it and just make sure it's just super soft. So when you get this consistency, make sure that shows that what you're doing is very correct, and you are almost done with the process. Now put it in small cups, or you can do anything of your choice. Just put in anything of your choice, and make sure that you pour some water on the side, and then you let it there. But then I prefer using cups because I feel like cups, they're gonna give you the shape that you want, that nice shape for presentation and all that. Now you put it in small cups. Make sure that your cups, when you put it in, this is how I did my cups, to make sure that it doesn't stick and it just comes out nicely. It doesn't stick. So now to make sure that it doesn't stick, I just put on the cooking oil, and then I added a bit of flour so that my flour doesn't stick. So when I boil it, it just comes out nicely. So this is how I did it, and I hope it's a trick that you can all learn, or something you can relate to, because what I'm doing comes straight from home. So that's what my mom used to do every time when she made dumplings. Even on a larger scale, this is what she did. So this is just a little life hack from me to you because of why? You guys are my people, so now I'm doing this for you. I'm just plugging in everything that I do to make sure that it's all plugged in. This is a secret life hack. It's a life hack. It's a life hack. With this, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong. Trust me. Trust me. As you can see now, if you put it like that, just roll on small shapes. Roll on small shapes and then get the shapes that you want and make sure they just fit in. But one thing I can advise you on that is to make sure that when you put your flour or when you put your dough into your cups, do not fill it up, because like when it starts to boil, it raises, right? So, and when it raises, just make sure it's at least half full. Your cup is half full, because it's gonna raise up. Do you see now? I didn't measure correctly and it just wanted to go out. So now just make sure it's half full. So I didn't measure correctly, so I thought I was gonna use 2 cups, but now because I made so much dough, I had to end up using 3 cups. But either way, more for me, it's more for me. So now make sure it's half full. Then you put on boiling water, and when you boil it in a big pan. Make sure that your pot is big now, so that it can be able to accommodate and give it room to breathe. It must breathe, Pella. Give it room to breathe so that you can be able to get the goods. So now here I was checking up on it and making sure with everything is going according to plan, and voila, this is the result. This is what you're supposed to. If it's not like this, I'm not eating it. Ciao.